Hey, what's going on, friend? So, for the past 8 years or so, I've been a youth pastor and I've learned a lot of things in these last 8 years. And so, here's a way for me to kind of share some of those things with you guys. And one of those things that I've learned in the last few years is I found it be really important to understand and to learn your strengths versus your weaknesses, and to understand those things, to know what they are, and to be able to know what to do with them. So, first off, let me just kind of explain what I mean by strengths and weaknesses, because I think initially when I hear that, or when most people hear that, we think of the things I'm good at and then the things that I'm bad at. And that's natural to think that, but I think there's a little bit more to your strengths and your weaknesses, because just because it's a strength doesn't inherently necessarily mean you're good at it, and just because it's a weakness doesn't necessarily mean that you're bad at it. So what do I mean by strengths versus weaknesses? I think it has far more to do with that internal motivation within you, things that you are drawn to do, things that you naturally want to do, versus things that you are hesitant to do, things that you dread doing, things that you procrastinate doing. That's sort of more what I mean. So let me give you kind of an easy, kind of fun example. So for me personally, my strengths and weaknesses, as an example, is one of my strengths is, let's say it's reading some content, learning something, and then going to teach someone about it. No one has to ask me twice to do that. I will just do that. I will learn stuff from a book, maybe, like a Bible or something like that, and then I will learn things from it, and then I will go teach that to people. And that is fun. That is exciting. I will do that all day long. That's really fun. Teaching people, helping people learn and grow and develop and become better, that no one has to ask me twice to do. That's a strength of mine. Versus on the other hand, my people skills are much more of a weakness. So if I enter into a space and there's a bunch of people I don't know, nothing internally within me motivates me to go, oh, I need to go meet a bunch of people and go network and go figure out this person and go have small talk with them and go do all that stuff. Nothing internally within me says to go do that. I'm kind of more the person of, I would naturally, if all things were just my natural instinct, find someone I know, go talk with them. That's my natural bend. That's where I naturally gravitate towards. So, which I know is really ironic because I'm a youth pastor and that's literally my job, is to go meet people and to go be around people. And so that's why it's kind of ironic where like some parts of the job I'm really motivated to do and some I'm not. So, but here's the thing that I think is really important to know is I'm good at teaching. That's something I have a strength in, but I'm also good at meeting people and interacting with people. So strengths and weaknesses do not necessarily mean this is what you're good at and this is what you're bad at. It has far more to do with that internal bend, that something inside of you that says, or something that goes, yes. That's far more of what I mean. So, in thinking about your strengths and weaknesses and how these apply and why they're important to know, is because when you are in your endeavors to grow and improve and develop as a person, the strengths that you have, if you put, let's say, 2 hours of effort and work into your strengths and then in your weaknesses, in those 2 hours, you're going to go 5 times the distance with your strengths, and you're going to go a fifth of the distance with your weaknesses. Meaning you're going to have to put more energy into improving your weaknesses than in your strengths, just broadly speaking. So let's say I want to get twice as good at preaching. That's something that falls in one of my strengths. Maybe I have to work for 30 minutes, something like that. I have to work for an hour to get twice as good, to learn a few extra tips, to learn a few extra things, to get much better, to get twice as good at preaching. I'm going to have to work 5 times the amount to get the same amount of improvement in something like my weaknesses. How that plays out is if you look through like my YouTube history, my podcast history, there's a few about here's how to disciple, here's how to preach, here's how to communicate. There's a few on that because I find it interesting. Far more of those are about here's how conversational tips, here's how to interact with people, here's how to navigate conversations, here's how to have hard conversations with people, here's how to do this. And so the things that are my weaknesses, I have to spend more time, more energy learning how to get good at those things than I would on my strengths. So in your life, I think it's really important to think about and to take inventory of yourself to understand what are my strengths and what are my weaknesses, because yours are going to be entirely different from mine. Some of it might be similar, might be entirely different, but for you, you need to know what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are. Again, it's that natural bend, it's that internal clock that says to do this, or I don't really want to do that. It's the things that you procrastinate, it's the things that you don't procrastinate. Learning those things helps you in your development journey, not only personally to know, okay, I don't have to put as much energy into this, but because this is vital, I need to put a lot more energy into this. So it helps you there, but also it helps you with delegating to people, delegating to your team. I don't have to delegate as much of teaching or something like that to people, because that is something that is internally motivating to me. It gives me energy, it gives me life to do these things. But on the other hand, my weaknesses, those are things that I should be delegating to people because they end up pulling energy from me. They suck life out of me. Not to say that interacting with people sucks the life out of me, but things like administrative tasks, little tedious things like that, for me personally, that's where I don't like. So the things that are weaknesses or pull energy from me that I'm kind of hesitant to do, I procrastinate doing, those are the key areas. Okay, I need to delegate those things because it may be a weakness for me, but it's going to be a strength for someone else. There's somebody that for you in your life, there's things that are your strengths but your weaknesses, but for someone else, your weaknesses are going to be their strengths. So let them do that thing that is your weakness because it's their strength. It's going to give them life. It's going to give them vitality. You won't understand why because it's your weakness, but for them, they won't understand why you don't want to do it. So understanding your strengths and weaknesses helps not only you in your development journey, but it also helps you with learning and understanding what needs to be delegated, not so much of just what you want to delegate. And so it helps you figure out a bunch of different little things about who you are. And especially if you're newer to the youth pastor game, I think take some extra time to really think through what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, and then you can make a plan for how am I going to get better at my weaknesses, because I'm good at going into a space with a bunch of people I don't know, interacting with them, making small talk, because I do it every single week. I'm good at it objectively, but it's not a strength of mine. It is a weakness of mine, but I am good at it because I've put in the time, I've put in the effort to get good at it. So learn your strengths, learn your weaknesses. They're really helpful to understanding how you function, all that sort of stuff. And so go learn your strengths, go learn your weaknesses, and hopefully it'll help you with delegating and help you with your development journey as a youth pastor and as a person and just as a leader in general. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. So peace.